the loudest person in the room knows the least. The one who wins the crowd often loses themselves. But the person who moves with clarity, calm, and conviction, that's the person who people can't quite explain, but they feel it. That's the quiet outlier. The one who doesn't need to outshine because they outsmart. And here's the thing. The world teaches you to chase attention, but wisdom teaches you to reclaim it. Today, I'm going to walk you through 6 Stoic keys that do just that. They help you move differently, not louder, not faster, just wiser. These aren't just ideas, they're practices. And if you lean into them, people will feel your presence before you even speak a word. So if something in you knows you're meant to walk a different path, stick with me through this video. Each of these Stoic truths builds on the one before it. Skip one, and you might miss the moment that could change how you lead your life. And if this feels like a space where your soul can breathe, subscribe. Not for noise, not for hype, just grounded ideas to help you live aligned, lead wisely, and walk lightly. Let's be real. Most people are performing. Even in silence, they're begging to be seen. But the Stoics, they mastered the art of quiet power. They weren't perfect, but they practiced something deeper. They asked, what's in my control? What really matters? Who do I choose to be, no matter the chaos around me? And that's why these keys still work. Because they don't just make you smarter, they make you still, which in this noisy world is the sharpest edge you can carry. And wait till we get to key 5. It's one I still come back to every single week. Let's begin. Key 1. Master your reactions, not the situation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a moment where everything around you felt chaotic, but someone in the room stayed completely unshaken? Maybe it was a leader during a crisis, a friend during a heated argument, or even a stranger in traffic who didn't flinch when someone else honked and cursed them out. That kind of composure, that's not luck. That's not personality. That's training. You can't control the storm, but you can control the sail. That's what the Stoics believed. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That sounds simple, but if we're being honest, most of us don't respond. We react. Something doesn't go your way, you explode. Someone disrespects you, you match their energy. A delay, a rejection, a rude comment, it hijacks your whole day. But here's the raw truth. Every time you react without reflection, you give your power away. Let's bring this down to earth. You're in traffic. Someone cuts you off. What do? You have 2 options. 1, lean on the horn, yell in your car, curse the world, and carry that anger into the rest of your day. 2, breathe, let it go, and remind yourself, this isn't worth disturbing my peace over. Or maybe you're in a work meeting. Someone challenges your idea in front of everyone. Your ego's on fire. You want to clap back, prove a point, show them they're wrong. But the Stoic in you pauses. You ask, is this about the idea or about my pride? You choose grace over ego, response over reaction. That's power. Most people think control means controlling others, but real power is internal. You can't control how they treat you. You can control what energy you match. You can control whether you escalate or elevate. And this isn't about being passive or soft. It's about being precise. When you master your reactions, you stop wasting energy on things that don't deserve you. You stop being pulled into every emotional whirlpool that shows up. You become the calm one in the room. And let me tell you something. In a world full of noise and drama, calmness is a superpower. Take a moment, close your eyes, breathe in. Now think back to a moment recently when you lost control, snapped, reacted without thinking. What did it cost you? Your peace? Your focus? Your reputation? Now imagine what would have happened if you had paused, if you had taken one breath and responded differently. That's the practice. Not to be perfect, but to build space between stimulus and response. To not let every button push trigger an explosion before reacting. Try this. 1. Pause. 2. Ask, is this worth my energy? 3. Then respond. From alignment, not ego. Try it in traffic. Try it during conflict. Try it the next time your plans get disrupted. Mastering your reaction doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means your feelings no longer master you. You become deliberate, grounded, unshakable. And that, my friend, is rare. Because while most people are out here trying to control everything else, the Stoic quietly controls the one thing that actually matters, themselves. And speaking of control, there's one form of control that transforms everything. Not over others, not over circumstances, but over your own discipline. Because when you choose discipline over drama, that's when real freedom begins. Let's go there. Key 2. Choose discipline over drama. Here's a quiet truth that most people miss. It's easy to look focused. It's harder to be focused when no one's watching. We live in a world that rewards visibility, the posts, the updates, the highlight reels. But the Stoics, they weren't trying to look impressive. They were trying to become something real, even if nobody clapped for it. What you do when no one's watching shapes what they see when they are. Let's be honest, we're surrounded by hustle culture. Wake up at 5 a.m., show your routine, document the grind. But ask yourself, are you living for growth or for applause? Stoicism teaches us something radical. Discipline is internal. It doesn't need a witness. It doesn't need noise. It just needs consistency. And it's not always glamorous. It's choosing the gym when scrolling feels easier. It's sticking to your budget when temptation whispers. It's saying no to drama, even when it begs for your attention. Discipline doesn't shout. It whispers in quiet moments. Do it anyway. Let me give you something real. Think about someone who's deeply respected in your life. Maybe it's a mentor, a parent, a coach, a friend. Odds are, what you respect about them isn't loud. It's their follow-through. It's their habits. It's how they show up with integrity, even when no one's keeping score. That kind of consistency, it's not built in front of an audience. It's built in private. When the alarm goes off and no one would know if you skipped. When you keep the promise you made to yourself, even if it's uncomfortable. That's the work. And that's what makes someone quietly magnetic. Ask yourself something. Really sit with this. Is your growth sacred, or is it on display? Are you doing this for you, or for a moment of recognition? There's nothing wrong with being seen. But if your effort depends on being seen, that's not discipline. That's performance. Drama is addictive. It gives us a hit of relevance, a moment of chaos, something to talk about. But discipline, it gives you peace. It gives you freedom. And here's the paradox. The more you lean into discipline, the less you crave drama, because you're too focused on building to be distracted by noise. Discipline gives you results, not reactions. Depth, not dopamine. Growth, not gossip. You don't need to post your grind. You don't need to prove your effort. You just need to live it. And the people who matter, they'll feel the shift without you ever having to say a word. But even discipline needs one thing to thrive, because when the journey gets long, and it will, you need fuel, you need clarity, you need something deeper to pull you forward. And that's where this next key comes in. It's the reason most people burn out, while a few keep building. Let's dive in. Key 3. Protect your peace. Like it's a resource. Let's talk about something most people don't realize until they're already burnt out. Peace, son, is not passive, it's a discipline. And if you don't protect it, someone else will spend it for you. Not everything deserves your energy. Not everyone gets your access. In this always-on culture, people confuse availability with virtue. We've been conditioned to feel guilty for unplugging, to apologize for needing space, to explain why we didn't reply fast enough. But here's the truth. You are not weak for saying no. You are wise. Stoicism teaches that your inner world, your attention, your time, your emotions, they're not infinite. They're a limited resource. And just like money, if you don't budget it, it disappears fast. Maybe it's that group chat that drains you with constant chaos. Maybe it's a person who only calls when they need something. Maybe it's saying yes to every favor, while your own soul feels stretched thin. You don't have to hate someone to create distance. Boundaries are not punishment. They're protection. Protection for your focus, for your energy, for your nervous system. The Stoics weren't cold. They were clear. They knew peace wasn't found in the absence of problems. It was found in the presence of priorities. So here's the question to reflect on, and really give yourself permission to answer honestly. What are you saying yes to that is quietly draining your life? Not loudly, not dramatically, but subtly, consistently. Little leaks of energy that over time leave you empty. And here's the key. You don't need to justify your boundaries. Peace doesn't need permission. And here's the beautiful shift. When you stop leaking energy, something powerful returns to you. Clarity, focus, strength, and most importantly, yourself. In this next Stoic key, it reveals exactly what begins to unlock once that peace is protected. Let's go deeper. Key 4, lead yourself before you lead others. Everyone wants to lead something, a team, a brand, a family, a movement. But here's the Stoic truth, and it's humbling. You can't lead anyone if you can't lead yourself. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of preparation. Leadership isn't about the spotlight, it's about how you show up, especially when no one's clapping, when the pressure hits, when emotions run hot, when the plan falls apart. A Stoic doesn't rely on hype to get through chaos. They rely on habit, clarity, mental reps. They've rehearsed who they are long before the test showed up. So let me ask you, you want to lead a business, a community, a child? Start smaller. Can you lead your attention when distractions flood in? Can you lead your emotions when envy starts to whisper? Can you lead your fear without letting it become your compass? Because here's what no one tells you. The way you talk to yourself at 2 a.m., the way you respond when things go sideways, the way you treat people who can't benefit you, that's leadership, even if no one sees it. So pause with me for a moment. What does your inner leadership look like when there's no coach, no applause, no external guidance? Are you anchored or are you outsourced? Do you trust your own compass or do you wait to be told what's right? Leadership doesn't start when the crowd shows up. It starts when the mirror does. And the next key, it sharpens all the others. Because without it, even your discipline and preparation can work against you. It's subtle. Most people overlook it. But when you understand this next Stoic shift, you'll see why it's the cornerstone of real wisdom. Key 5, embrace stillness, especially when you want to react. You ever feel that tug, that urge to respond, to clap back, explain yourself, or rush into a decision. Like if you don't speak now, you'll lose control. The Stoics saw it differently. They believed the one who pauses holds the real power. Stillness is not inaction, it's control. Not silence out of fear, but silence out of strength. Today's world is allergic to stillness. We overshare on impulse. We interrupt out of anxiety. We react out of ego. But Stoics, they understood something deeper. Stillness lets you see what emotion tries to blur. A pause before you speak can save a relationship. A breath before you reply can preserve your dignity. A moment of stillness can reveal things nobody else saw. You ever notice how the most grounded people in a room, say the least, they listen, they breathe, they watch. And when they do speak, everyone leans in because their words weren't born out of noise. They were born out of clarity. In an argument, honest stillness is the move that keeps you from saying what you'll regret. In negotiations, it's the moment you don't feel the silence that shifts the power. In tough conversations, it's the patience to respond from truth, not triggers. Stillness is a cheat code. It separates the reactive from the wise, the impulsive from the intentional. And in that pause, you often see the truth people are too emotional to notice. So here's the reflection. Are you reacting out of urgency or responding from clarity? Are you rushing to be heard or choosing to be understood? When was the last time you let stillness speak for you? Not just in conflict, but in choices, in decisions, in how you lead yourself? Try it. Next time your heart races, next time someone tests you, next time you're tempted to post something just to feel seen, pause, breathe, wait. Not because you're scared to act, but because you're too grounded to be baited. And now we've arrived. This final key? It's the thread that ties everything together. The mindset that makes the other five come alive. It's not loud, but it echoes long after you've left the room. And it might just be the one that makes you unforgettable. Let's finish strong. Key 6. Live by values, not vibes. Here's a truth that hits hard. If you only show up when you feel like it, you'll rarely show up when it matters. Most people, they run on mood. If they're hyped, they commit. If they're tired, they ghost. If they're excited, they overpromise. But when life feels meh, they disappear. That's not living, that's drifting. Moods come and go, but values anchor you. And the Stoics knew it. They didn't wait to feel like doing the right thing. They just did it because it was aligned with who they were. Let's be real. Most people today are emotionally reactive. I don't feel motivated. I'm just not in the mood to be kind. I'll be honest when it's easier, but if your vibe changes your values, then you're not leading your life. Your emotions are. Stoics flipped the game. They weren't consistent because they felt good. They were consistent because they were rooted in integrity, in clarity, in discipline. They were the same when it was sunny and when it stormed, because they lived from values, not vibes. Imagine this. You're in a bad mood, but you're still patient. You're exhausted, but you still keep your word. You're frustrated, but you still speak with respect. That's not just maturity, that's mastery. And people notice it. In a world where everyone shifts with the wind, someone who stands firm becomes magnetic. You can trust them, you can follow them, because they're not just moved by how they feel, they're guided by who they are. Ask yourself, what do you live by when no one's watching, when nobody's clapping, when it's inconvenient, when you're tired, angry, or heartbroken? That's where your real compass is revealed. It's not about being perfect, it's about being anchored, because when your values lead, you become dependable. You build respect that lasts. You outlast the people who are louder, flashier, and trendier. So take this with you. Let others chase the vibes. Let them rise and fall with the trends, the moods, the noise. But you, be the one who's rooted, because in a world addicted to aesthetics and feelings, consistency, built on character, will always win. And when your values lead, that's when your legacy begins. If any part of this hit home, subscribe. This is a space where we reflect deeply, live honestly, and walk lightly. So here's the truth. Outsmarting others doesn't mean playing games. It means mastering yourself quietly, consistently, inwardly. Let's recap. 1. Master your reactions, not the world. 2. Choose discipline over drama. 3. Protect your peace. 4. Lead yourself first. 5. Embrace stillness. 6. Live your values. Even when your moods shift, these aren't just stoic tricks. They're tools for living like the kind of person who doesn't just get by. They move through life with purpose, quietly sharp, unshakably wise. Final anchor. And remember, you don't need to explain your silence. When you live with this kind of clarity, people will feel you before they hear you.